It sounded like you were about to go, wow. Hey, I think we're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Happy Hour.
What's up? Good evening.
How's everybody doing?
So, we missed you guys last week. Sorry about that. You know, we had hoped for more feedback and stuff from our episode before then. Which
was surrounding yourself with the right people.
Right. We really liked that episode. We got a lot of good feedback from you guys too. So we thought that was probably our best yet. So hopefully we keep on delivering.
Yeah.
But like I said last week, we just didn't quite make it. We were hoping for more feedback, but that's okay because we got a lot more feedback after the fact, and we really appreciate that. So a couple changes.
I don't know if anybody's noticed behind me.
What?
What?
So we actually have a backdrop now. To kind of set the scene up a little bit more.
Tell us how you like it.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, if you don't.
The lighting's a little bit softer as well.
I'm trying. This side's not as soft for me, but it's all right.
Right.
We'll work with it.
We'll work it out.
It looks good on YouTube. So
Yeah.
if you want to see my beautiful face, even more beautiful, go to YouTube.
Yeah. I would encourage you guys to check out our YouTube channel. We're live there right now as well. And full HD. No more shitty webcam
Laptop.
Yeah.
We have a webcam now.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like when I was looking at the video settings earlier, it said that it was recording at like 0.8 megapixels. I was like, holy crap! Like that's like terrible.
The laptop was?
Yeah, that's the quality that we were recording.
I mean, you get what you get because So YouTube is gonna look good. Like I look. Even comes our eyes, man.
Mm-hmm.
Pops our eyes out.
Yeah. So, like I said, I encourage you guys to check us out on YouTube right now, or
love and miss you too, bro.
Love and miss you too, man. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So we got the full HD camera and then the high quality sound as well.
Well, we've had this mic for a while, and Matt had to have it showing in all the cameras.
Okay. I got it in the perfect spot. It's just a thing, so you guys can.
So he put it in a perfect spot, right? And then I accidentally, myself, clumsy, hit it. And then he's like, it took me forever. And I was like, bloop. And he's like, touching it, moving it. He's like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I've been kind of frustrated today because I was trying to get the new webcam to work,
which I fixed that as well.
Yeah. So essentially, I was just getting in my own way. I was so frustrated with everything. My wonderful wife came home and took care of it. So we're good.
Yeah.
So, without further ado.
So this episode, we're going to be talking about something really, well, I know it's going to be hard for me. It'll probably be hard for Matt as well, especially because, anyway, so this episode 6, we are talking about loss. It could be family, friend, pet, or somebody who is still alive, but you can't reach out to them. They don't want that relationship type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's important to talk about loss in our relationship, in every relationship,
right?
Because it's important. It's going to happen at some point. The two certain things in life, right? Death and taxes. So at some point,
I love how you put the taxes in there.
At some point, we're going to lose people that we care about.
Yeah.
And so that's our goal.
Essentially, you have to learn to live without them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about some personal stories that we have that we've kind of dealt with, and how we worked through it together, and then interpersonally as well. So yeah, I hope we can help someone else that is dealing with that, or might give them some pointers and stuff on how to work through it moving forward in the future. So
it's hard when you lose a loved one,
mm-hmm.
especially when they're super close to you. It's very hard.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go into the people that I love the most that I had lost, and it would be my grandparents, my grandma and Grandpa Payne. Now, my grandpa passed away when I was little. I mean, I was born in 87, and I'm pretty sure he passed away in 96, I want to say. So I was still young, and
but old enough to understand.
Kind of, yeah. So I guess me and my grandpa's relationship was awesome, I would say. He was the typical grandpa. He would we always played card games, or he taught me how to play, why am I blanking, man? He taught me how to play dominoes. He was the first person to teach me that. He taught me how to play Shit on Your Neighbors and all the cool games. And one of his big things was like, you can't touch the money on the inside, or you get slapped, or you can't play anymore. He was big on elbows on the table. You can't have any elbows on the table while you're eating. He would have slapped the hell out of your, or flicked the hell out of your elbows. He wouldn't let us, I'm telling all the bad things, but it's like, it's funny memories for me. Like we couldn't slurp milk out of our bowls. We had to use a spoon.
Those aren't bad memories. Those are just, he was teaching me manners.
Yeah.
Which, all right, is definitely important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then today.
He, anytime he was like about to spank me or my little brother or something, my grandma would be like, all right, Daddy, now they're just kids. Like, it was hilarious. For them, it was always Mama and Daddy. Like, my grandma was Mama to him, and then, Grandpa was Daddy to her type of thing. Like, that's how they talk to each other. And so, anyways, he passed away in 96. And, I got another funny story. Sorry. So, me and my little brother he picked us up from school, because he normally would pick us up at that age in his, I'm pretty sure he had a station wagon. I think that's what it was.
Sweet.
Yeah. Anyways, so we were coming back from his house or something, and we were driving down the street, and then this car was in front of us, right? And he had like a huge ladder or whatever on his car or in his truck. And so my grandpa almost hit it, and he's like, shit, like that. And he like swerves, and it was funny to us. Sorry. Anyway, so he passed away in 96, and how we found out was my grandma. So my grandma would make my grandpa lunch. My grandma would take a nap, and at lunchtime, my grandma would go wake him up, and they'd have lunch together. And I guess my grandpa went to go lay down, and then my grandma went in there and tried to wake him up, and he wasn't responsive. That's the right word, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so my grandma called my dad, and my dad, like, I have never seen him speed so fast, because we were at home. And so my dad sped all the way to my grandma's house. And then, I think we beat the paramedics there. Like, I'm pretty sure we beat the paramedics and the fire and the police officers and all that. So we go in, and at this point, I'm not really understanding what's going on. So they're all in there, and my dad goes in there and talks to him and stuff. And then I don't know if it was my grandma or my dad, but they were like, do you want to go in and say goodbye to Grandpa? And so, why am I getting emotional? So long ago.
Okay.
And so we went in there, and me and my little brother went in there, and we said our goodbyes. My eyes are getting really red. We said our goodbyes, and I told him how much I loved him. And then we walked out. Why am I crying? Like, this is so long ago. Anyway, so we walk out, and we don't really I don't remember really understanding what was happening or why he didn't wake up. But sorry than I thought I was gonna be. Anyway, so I was really happy that I got to actually say bye to him, because I think it would have been weird if I couldn't have done that, I guess. And so, anyways, that's how he passed away. But it was a long time ago. We went to the funeral. They had a funeral at a church. And there's, from what I can remember being little, there was a whole bunch of people there. And people were standing up and talking. And I think I was sitting, I'm pretty sure I was sitting by one of my aunts, if I could remember right. But they were talking about him, and I remember crying and being sad. But that's it. That's all I remember from that. And anyways, so I guess I have to talk about my grandma now.
If you'd like to.
All right. So my grandma, she passed away a few years ago, and she was 97. She was, God damn, she was a strong woman. our relationship was totally different than me and my grandpa's relationship. My grandma raised me and my little brother. My dad was working, Monday through Friday, and so my grandma was the one that made sure my heart's racing. My grandma was the one that made sure that we had food on the table. She made sure we did our homework, and we had a way different relationship. She was like, I don't know, God sent. She was the best thing to ever happen to me and my little brother. And she made the best potato salad ever. Okay.
I can attest to this. Amanda and I, we started dating when we were 16. And so I had the opportunity to know.
Thank you for talking.
I had the opportunity to know her, and she really was a kick-ass woman.
Yeah.
I got a kick out of her. She was fun, and it was crazy because, even at 16, so that was 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So 15 years ago, so she would have been 80, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pushing 80 anyways. And she was, just sharp as a tack, and she was always that way.
Oh, yeah. She lived by herself from the time my grandpa passed away. She was by herself up until she told my parents that she lived with them, and
mm-hmm.
she was scared or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, she was kick-ass. We were probably the worst fucking kids. Anybody can attest to this. But I would never, I don't know. My grandma was my number one. She did a lot for us. And a funny thing is, so okay. So from the time that my grandpa passed away, she lived by herself, and she would mow her lawn. If anybody knows that backyard and the front yard, she'd mow her yard by herself. She never wanted any help. Her house was always clean.
We lived in this house for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I fucking hated mowing that
yard. If anybody knows that backyard, she raked up those beans.
Yes.
Remember the beans?
Yeah.
She would rake all those up, put them in a bag, and put them down in the front yard.
Oh my God.
She was a saint, bro.
Yeah.
She was tough.
I would just cuss them from the patio.
Yeah. She was the best. But anyway, she moved in with my parents, and she got Alzheimer's, and I believe it's called sundowners. At first she was cool during the day, and then at night was when she would forget things and forget who she was or where she was at. She was always like, I'm going home. I want to go home. And it's like, you are home. This is your home now, at my dad's house. But I'm shaky.
It's okay.
Anyway, so, and then she got dementia really bad, and she was 97. She made it to her birthday, and she was 97, and then she passed away after that. But a cool thing is she totally I know she forgot me, who I was. She didn't know my name or who I was, and I know she did that with my dad, and she would say that my grandpa is downstairs, which he wasn't. But anytime Matt came over, she always said, "Hi, Matt," and then she'd ask him about State Farm.
Yeah.
She wouldn't remember anything else, but when this man came through that door, she remembered his name and what he did, and asked how he was doing, and asked questions with him.
Yeah. I'd sit down and have a conversation with her. Like I said, she was just super cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that was, why she remembered what I did specifically and me, but
I don't know. Just something about you.
I guess so.
Yeah. Anyway, so she passed away, and that was the hardest for me because I was actually alone. I wasn't alone, but I was away from her. And I think that's one thing that I kind of regret moving before her passing away, because I didn't get to be there like I did with my grandpa, and so I regret that. That's one thing I do regret. And I would Skype her all the time, and she wouldn't know who I was, but I made sure to Skype her and talk to her and, at least see her face. Anyway, so I got that call. It was like, I don't even know. It was early in the morning. My dad called me and was like, she passed, and she had everybody surrounding her. My dad, she had her kids surrounding her. My dad, my aunt, my uncle. And then she had Christine there, and it was just really hard. And I got on the first flight that I could, which was really hard because I was by myself and I'd never flown by myself. I've never been through like security, TSA, and all that by myself, so I was stressing about that.
Yeah, I was really stressed at this point in time too because, I mean, obviously we're a big support structure for each other, and so I hated the fact that I couldn't be there to protect her.
Yeah,
and,
that's another thing.
Help her.
Matt couldn't be with me, like I had to go by myself, so that was even hard. And then it was hard leaving my dad and my little brother because of that. And so it was just really hard. But we had a celebration of life for her. And she was a wonderful woman. And I still wish she was around. And I think about her every day. Like, every day. Because I work at a gift shop. So there's a lot of old people that come through. And when I see an old lady, I'm always like, oh, that would be my grandma,
Mm-hmm.
But I think losing my grandma was one of the hardest things that I've been through.
Yeah. I mean, this one was instrumental in creating the person you guys see today, and acted as that. What's the word? She was your go-to.
Yeah, she was my mentor. She was my everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, initially, after,
I'm glad she's not suffering anymore. Like, that's one thing that she, it wasn't that she was sick or anything. I mean, this woman lived to be 97. It was just because she was a tiny lady too.
Yeah.
So it was like her tiny little body just couldn't take it anymore. She was on oxygen for a long time, and I'm sorry if nobody could have met her because she was awesome.
Yeah, she was really great.
She was really pretty. I wish I had a picture of her, actually.
Yeah. Maybe we should post. We'll post a picture of Alice.
Yeah.
Yeah. To our Instagram, our Facebook.
Yeah.
So.
But anyways, those are my two losses. I mean, there's other losses, like my dog Cisco. He passed away, and that was a little hard for me because I wasn't there again.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm a big baby, if you guys can't tell. I might act like I'm a little tough, but I'm not.
Oh, baby, you're a bad bitch, remember?
Yeah. Anyways, so that's my story. That's what I have so far with my stuff. So I love you too, Caitlin.
So 11, 12, 13, November 12th, 2013.
Out of all dates.
Yeah, I lost my father. So he was technically my stepfather. But he raised me since I was 2, right? And he was a very strong personality, very strong man. He and I didn't get along a lot growing up, especially in adolescence when I was a teenager. You remember?
Oh, yeah. I remember the stories. And
yeah.
I wasn't really a part of it, but you would tell me like the next day what happened.
Yeah. He and I would get into some knockdown, drag out fights, and we know for a long time he and I really resented each other. But he was hard on me because I needed someone to be hard on me. I wasn't a bad kid. I was just a mischievous kid. And I still do. But at the time when I was being brought up, I fucking hated authority. I hated people telling me what to do, or the idea of somebody thinking they can outdo me or something.
Outsmart you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just always kind of gave authority the finger. And that's in my life. My dad, he was the one that acted as authority figure. And it's so crazy to think about too, because my mom was a softie. She was a little bit easier on me, a lot of it easier.
Mama's boy.
Right. But if he hadn't been in my life, I cannot imagine the type of man I would be today.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, he was strict to a T, but like I said, I needed that kind of force in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, fast forward, so I lived at home until I was 19, and then he and my mom made the decision to kick me out. One of the best things that happened to me, because I was 19, thought I had it all figured out, and I was just kind of coasting through life with no real point or direction.
No reason, no rhyme.
Yeah. So I got on my own, 19, 20, 21, 22. I started growing a little bit, kind of figuring out, okay, like we all do. I don't have all my shit together. I don't have it all figured out.
Shit, this is what an adult really is.
Yeah, yeah. And he and I still kind of had a rocky relationship, but it was getting slowly, progressively better. And then there was one day I was at mom and dad's house, and I had a conversation with dad about how much I appreciated everything he had done for me when I was growing up, and how much I understood why he was, and I thanked him. And I'm just so glad that we had that conversation. I made that jump and said, hey, thank you for being a hard ass on me through my whole life, and I see why. And anyways, from there our relationship got really, really good. And we would talk a lot and stuff. And
they came over and you made steaks for them.
Yeah. I made steak dinner for my parents after he and I had that conversation. And I don't know, it was really great. Like he and I were just meshed really well. And anyways, I'm kind of losing track here. I'm trying to keep myself from getting where Amanda was.
It's hard, especially when you start talking about stuff like this.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
I'm really glad that he and I got that opportunity to become close. One of the best memories I have of my father is he and I were really into cars and muscle cars and stuff, and so we got the opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
I got to take him to Mecum Auto Auctions in Kansas City, just he and I, and it was really cool. And that was like, it was like hanging out with my friend, and also knowing that was my father. So.
Yeah. That was really cool. I'm glad you guys got to experience that, just you two together. You know what I mean? That bonding time.
Yeah. So, anyways, my how he passed. So my mom called me and said that they were going on their way to the hospital. That's the way I remember it. Dad was really lethargic. He was like not really responsive from the way mom was talking about it. He had kind of a hard time. Like you would talk to him, he really, it wouldn't register with him, right? Like the lights were on, but nobody was home. And so they took him in, ran some tests. Couldn't really get to the bottom of it.
Well, he had been on medicine too for a long time.
Yeah, my dad had health issues. He smoked for 45 years. Or longer.
Yeah.
He got hurt when he was younger, in his early 40s. Which caused him to be disabled through the rest of his life. And then he also had Graves' disease. So if you guys don't know what Graves' disease is, basically it weakens your immune system, but at a very slow rate. All right. So like I remember when I was a kid, like I would get sick, and then mom would get sick, and then dad would get sick, and it would be 10 times worse for him.
Right.
And he'd go through it, for 2 or 3 weeks, whereas we got over it in a few days.
Right.
So anyways,
so your mom called you.
Yeah, so my mom called, and they were on the way to the hospital, went to the hospital, ran some tests and stuff, gave him some medicine. I remember him getting better. Went home. A few days later, same thing happened again, except worse. Again, I wasn't there. I was just going from memory what my mom told me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And lethargic and stuff. So they took him back to the hospital, ran some more tests. Turns out he had stage 4 small cell carcinoma, which is the most advanced or aggressive type of lung cancer you can get. And so, that was hard for us to accept and stuff. He was 58.
So still pretty young. I mean, I would consider that young.
So dad went home and kind of, had a meeting of the minds, and he decided he was going to go through chemo. That was going to be the next step. And chemo is extremely terrible. I mean, it's hard on you, right? If
anybody knows,
yeah. Like, so at 58 with Graves' disease, you can imagine what kind of undertaking this would be to try to fight it and go through chemo.
Right.
And So anyways, he decided, that's the step he was going to go. He's going to fight it. He's going to kick it. And then I think it was that weekend. So he was diagnosed on a Thursday. And then he got bad again. Went back to hospital, ran some more tests.
Yeah, I thought it was like the next day he went back.
Yeah, so it was Tuesday. He passed on a Tuesday. So basically the cancer had spread through his entire body. And he was experiencing a lot of organ failure. There was things the doctor said that they could do or could have done, but it was just basically prolonging the inevitable.
Sorry to interrupt, but did he not have? I thought he had pneumonia as well.
Yeah, I think I remember that too. It's all a blur, right? Because all these things, all these lung cancer, and then organ failure, and holy shit.
Yeah.
And he was kind of in and out of consciousness when those final couple days in the hospital. You could get his attention, and he would wake up and talk and stuff, and then he could kind of slowly fade out again. But I remember when I knew that it basically was going to happen. I did have the opportunity to hold his hand at the hospital bed and talk to him and tell him how much I loved him and how much I appreciated everything he did for me. And that I don't know where my life would be without him. And so I had that opportunity to kind of let go and tell him everything that I felt, everything I had in my heart. And so, yeah, I just initially, when it hits you, you're like, how do I go on? Where's my life? What's it going to look like from here without this instrumental person in my life? And yeah, it's hard. But I think that's why we're talking about this, is because, I had Amanda there to support me and show me how much she loved me and just let me be me. And
I'd let him cry when he needed to. I still do. I mean, because you don't get over it.
Yeah. You
get that burst of that sense of like, oh shit, like they're really not here still. Like this is weird. And then this happens again. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't get better. I mean, it gets better. You just don't. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. So, I mean, initially, when that hits, I remember I was driving on the way to the hospital because I'd been there every day, right? And
your mom was there every day. You were there every day.
Mom and my little brother.
She wouldn't leave.
There. No.
Like it took a lot for us to tell her to go shower. You know what I mean? Like she was there 24/7. So
I remember I was on my way to the hospital, and I can't remember who called me, if it was Jeremy or one of my step siblings or mom. Somebody called me and said that he was gone. And it was about 10-15 minutes before I got there, which I don't.
And it was early in the morning because I remember you called me and told me, and I was like, I need to get up to the hospital now. Like I need to be there with you. Mm-hmm. Like I remember.
And then I remember walking into the not emergency room, but the room they had him in, and it was just everybody was there around the bed, and it was just kind of all of it was sitting in.
Yeah.
So, there's this is, like I said, why we want to talk about this, because it's difficult and it's never something that you get over. It's just something you learn to carry with you.
Yeah.
It's something that you just have, I don't want to say you just have to deal with, but it's something that you
have to learn to live with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a scar, and I think what's important to remember in both scenarios, when my father passed and when her grandmother passed, when we were in each other's lives, that we let the other grieve in their own way.
Yeah.
Everybody is going to deal with losing these loved ones in a
differently.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be very different for everybody. And for me to reach some sort of normalcy again, I want to say it was probably 6 months. I would say longer than that for you. Yeah. I don't know. It took a very long time to not feel like I was going to break down. Right. Well, and then also tell them about how you guys laid them to rest. Yeah. So
it was even harder because Matt made a slideshow of pictures and songs, so that made it even harder because you had to go through the pictures and then you have to go through the songs. Like there's this one song, Like a Rock, that he played, and it played the other day. It played on my way home from the camping trip that I went to a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I turned it on, and then all of a sudden I just started bawling. And it was because it reminded me of Jim. It reminded me of his dad. And knowing that he's not here, because I don't know why I'm getting so emotional, but I didn't get a chance to actually like know him.
Yeah.
Like I do your mom. Like me and his mom have grown so much with each other. Like I think it was the night before he passed, and I had went to Burger King and got her some food for her, and I got out of the car and she came down and we hugged each other, and that was the first time that I told her that I loved her and that I would be there for her if she ever needed anything.
Yeah.
I just wish I had the opportunity to know him a little better, because every time I went over there, I would sit on the couch and they had these dogs, and he'd go see Amanda, go say hi to Amanda. Like it was just funny. Like he was funny.
Yeah.
Another memory would be when you were 21 and you guys got to play pool. That was really fucking cool too.
Yeah, I got shoot for my dad at the bar, so that was cool.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no.
How you laid him to rest?
Yeah,
I didn't mean to.
It's okay. So yeah, I kind of, since he was, all the things he did for me when I was growing up, he didn't have to do. Right. He didn't have to take such an interest and such a focus into making sure I became a decent fucking human being and a good man.
Yeah.
And so as a result, I felt the responsibility and the need to put together a eulogy for him and a slideshow. And because, I mean, there's a lot of people at the funeral. My dad was a very big personality,
my dad and stepmom came.
Yeah. Everybody knew Jim.
Yeah.
And that's the way I remember him growing up too. Everybody knew my dad. And in a small community, we grew up near Kansas City. So yeah, and so I put together a slideshow for him and wrote a speech and stuff. And I feel like I really did him justice in that. That was one of the prouder things I've done. But he was cremated. But yeah, it was.
I say hi to him every time I go over to Gina's house.
Yeah, and
I have to.
There's different points in time, every single day if I do something in a certain way, or if I hold the door open for someone, or if I say, I'm courteous to the person I'm doing business with across the counter, or whatever, I'm always in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about my dad, because watching him interact with people is where I learned a lot of that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and then we have his tools, and then he got his grill that he always grills on, which he needs to fix, but needs to get new grates. Anyways.
So
our life after.
Yeah. So now, I guess the way I deal with it is I'm just thankful that I had him in my life.
Yeah, the opportunity.
I'm so grateful that in this stage of our existence that he played that kind of role in my life, because I don't think anybody else could have done it better.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you probably feel the same way about your grandmother.
Yeah, absolutely. Like my grandma didn't have to be that grandma that she was.
No.
She didn't have to be. I used to be a really shitty person. Like.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So I think there's just a couple things. I mean, when you're going through this kind of loss and stuff, and whether it's your partner going through it, or you personally, or a friend, or somebody you're close to, you have to understand that
a coworker,
they're going to grieve in their own way, right?
Yep.
And if you want to be there for them, you just have to create an atmosphere around them to where it's okay for them to do whatever they need to do,
right,
to move forward.
Yeah.
And there's, like I said, like we talked about earlier, there's no time limit,
right,
on how it could be. Some people are going to be moving on and some sort of normalcy again in 30 days. It could be years.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, you'll always have that piece of you, that scar. Like, obviously, my dad's 11, 12, 13, so that's 6 years ago.
Right.
So even to this day, obviously, it still carries weight.
Yeah.
With me.
I mean, we were even gonna try to get our wedding date before he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's yeah.
So I guess in a positive light, those people that are important to you, those people that you care about, make sure it's known.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not a doubt.
And I try to.
There's not a doubt in my mind that my father didn't know how much I loved him, what kind of relationship we had.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And with my grandma as well. Like, I tried to do everything for my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
I'd make her lunch. I'd come over and just sit with her and talk to her, even though she said the same thing over. And she'd tell me what time it is 20,000 times. And
so, yeah.
their memories live on. We talk about them all the time. We think about them all the time.
Mhm.
Nothing has changed. I mean, it's still hard for us to talk about, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
And it's been a long time. Well, longer for you than me, but.
Right. But I guess that's how I make it okay. Is I'm just, it's inevitable. It's going to happen to, us one day too.
Right.
And I'm grateful that I got the time with him that I did.
Yeah.
So.
I agree. Well, sorry for this downer, guys.
Yeah, sorry. We knew going into it we'd get a little bit emotional. I don't think neither of us anticipated
I didn't
it would
think I
be
was
like
gonna get
this.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't think it was gonna be that.
But again, your guys' feedback is always appreciated.
Yes.
Give us some comments, suggestions. Let us know how we're doing, what you think. I see we got one watcher on YouTube. Again, check out our YouTube channel. We actually have 100 likes and followers on Facebook now. And so I told you guys that once that happened, we'd be getting HD. And so I'm looking at 1080p Matt and Amanda right now.
Yep.
Or Amanda and Matt, that was rude. I don't know why I said my name first.
Because it's always Matt and Amanda. It's never Amanda and Matt. Who says it?
It says.
Well, have you noticed, like, when you say people's name, you say the end of the alphabet before the beginning of the alphabet.
I guess right.
Matt and Amanda.
Interesting.
Matt and Gina.
Yeah.
Gina and Amanda. Like, it just sounds weird if you do it the other way.
Right.
Sorry.
So, anyways, thank you guys so much for
Bye.
watching. I know we really appreciate it. We're gonna keep on moving and watch how this thing grows.
I'm surprised we lasted this long.
Yeah.
Jesus, I'm sorry, guys.
36 minutes. So, again, like, comment, share, subscribe on our YouTube channel, please.
Click it, like it, share it.
Yeah, and hopefully this was some help for you, or at least helps maybe somebody else.
Yeah, and if anybody's going through this, like, you can obviously contact us and talk to us, because we're always there, especially for our family and friends. Like,
100%.
that's no doubt. Like,
Yeah.
we'll
Absolutely.
be there for you.
Yeah.
So anyways, we'll
So-
see you next time.
Yep. Until next time, next Sunday at 6. We'll see you guys. Until then, hope you guys have an amazing week, and happy Veterans Day too.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for all the military out there. We really
Thank you.
appreciate everything you've done for this country and us.
I agree.
So, all right, guys. Till next time.
All right, now the awkward stuff when Matt tries to finish everything.
See you later.
Bye. See, it's awkward.